You're tuned into the first newscast devoted to the Highland Lakes area. Local team coverage on Tribune Headline News, bringing you the stories you care about now. Hi everyone, I'm Connie Swenny. You're watching us on Northland Channel 15. Here's a look at the stories we've been working on. School and municipal races aren't the only events we're covering. It's also election time for directors of Pedernales Electric Cooperative. Also, we've received more reports of growing rabies cases in wildlife, this time in Llano County. Are pets and people safe? We'll answer those questions for you. Remember these images of a Kingsland store devastated by recent storms? Well, the business has made a full recovery and the owners invited us to take a look.
Welcome to Monday. If you love the weather over the weekend, you're going to love my rainy forecast today. Your complete forecast is coming up later in the news.
Thanks, Larry. We'll see you in a moment. Your forecast plus the latest on Marble Falls track and a list of local athletes ready to sign with colleges. This is Tribune Headline News. Stay with us.
As our school and city elections draw closer, it's important to know who's shaping the discussion for these critical issues in our area. The Picayune candidate forums can be found on thepicayunetv.com and also Northland Communications Channel 15.
Welcome back. We've told you about city and school candidates, but there's another election that's unfolding. Voters will also be casting their ballots for directors of the Pedernales Electric Cooperative Board in Districts 2 and 3. PEC, which is based in Johnson City, currently has 9 directors. The following PEC members, after producing the required 100 signatures, are on the slate of candidates. For District 2, William D. Boggs of Leander, Alan Yore of Cedar Park. For District 3, Tom Gress of Cedar Park, Kathy Scanlon of Austin, Stephen Thomas of Cedar Park, and Matthew Weldon of Austin. PEC officials will mail candidates' information and voting instructions to customers by May 4th. Members can vote by mail or online by June 10th. Voters will also be asked to cast a vote on changing the current system of district representatives. Here are some of the proposed new systems of representation. Well, there's the at-large system, which is the current one. Directors are locally nominated by petition of members within their district, but elected by a vote of members from all districts across the cooperative. Then there's the proposed single-member system. Directors will be nominated and elected locally by action of only members within their district. And the proposed hybrid combination of at-large and single-member system involves most directors being elected locally by members within their single-member districts, and a smaller number of directors would be elected by all members of the cooperative. In our next headline, Burnet County is fast becoming a hotbed for rabies cases. In Meadow Lakes, 2 rabid skunks were reported in 2 weeks in April. In Burnet, 6 rabid animals, a raccoon, and 2 skunks were reported in 2 months. Those reports exceed the number of Burnet County cases in all of 2010. And now Llano County animal control officers have sent out a warning as well. By the end of April, the county confirmed 8 cases, a raccoon and the rest skunks. That's more cases in that county than all of 2010. Now, are you safe from rabies infection, and how about your pets? Well, here are some ways to protect yourself. Update your pet's vaccinations. Supervise your pets when you're in the wilderness or out in areas where there's thick brush. Ask animal control officers to remove strays you notice in your neighborhood. And spay and neuter pets, as well as avoid contact with wildlife. Coming up next, a Kingsland business reopens after recovering from a devastating storm. And what about rain chances into the start of your work week? The answer next.
Area track teams are turning their attention to the regional track meet. We're going to talk about that coming up in sports.
Because experience matters. For home, auto, business, health, and life, we are here for you. When Galloway experts make top providers compete for your business, you win. The Galloway Insurance Team, since 1935. Burnet, Horseshoe Bay, and Marble Falls.
Vera's Strength and Fitness. Fitness programs that are fun and exciting with true performance and true results. Vera's Strength and Fitness, 708 Industrial Boulevard, Suite 101 in Marble Falls. We're back. Larry Page joins us with a look at your forecast. Larry?
Hello everyone and welcome to Monday. It looks like a great chance of rain today and even a better one tonight. Here's your Highland Lakes forecast for Northland Cable Channel 15 and the Picayune TV. Today we have a 40% chance of showers and thunderstorms, mostly cloudy with highs near 69, north winds around 5 to 10. Tonight we have a 50% chance of showers and thunderstorms, mostly cloudy with lows near around 53, northwesterly winds around 10. Tuesday, only a slight chance of showers, mostly cloudy skies with highs near 73 degrees. Northwesterly winds around 10 miles per hour with only a 20% chance of showers. Tuesday night, a partly cloudy sky with lows near 50 degrees. Then on Wednesday and Wednesday night, mostly sunny skies with highs around 82 with lows around 60. Remember, even though we're getting some rain, we're still under a strict no burn ban. That's what's going on. Enjoy the rest of your work week. Thank rain. 40% is great news, but it never hurts to keep it in our prayers. For Northland Cable Channel 15, the Picayune TV, I'm Larry Page. Back to you, Connie.
Larry, thanks. Jennifer Fierro has the latest on Marble Falls High School athletes signing with various colleges and more. Jennifer?
For several track teams at the Marble Falls and Burnet High Schools, this week is an important week for them because if they want to get to the state track meet, they're going to have to do well at the regional meet. Those meets begin on Monday and Tuesday. Marble Falls is sending several kids. We did get a chance to catch up with one of those, senior shot putter Sarah Lemon. Now, he finished second in the regional qualifiers meet last week with the throw of 55 feet 8 inches. We wanted to get his thoughts about the upcoming meet and how exactly he's doing in preparing for that meet. Here's what he had to say.
I think it was very important. It's like I say, it's a practice meet, and it really shows you competition from different places.
Marble Falls High School did announce it will have 2 football players who will be signing to play on the next level. Jacob Snosik has decided to play for the University of Mary Hardin-Baylor, while teammate Ronnie Boatwright will be playing for Sul Ross University. The Mustangs will be holding a signing ceremony for the 2 May 6th, Max Copeland Gym at 11:45. That's it for sports. I'm Jennifer Fierro. Connie, back to you.
Jennifer, thanks so much for that report. A popular food and fuel stop makes a comeback after a storm. Here's Raymond Whelan with the story.
It is business as usual for El Rio Food and Fuel in Kingsland. But that was a very different story just 3 months ago. A devastating windstorm swept through the community, leaving a mess in its wake. El Rio lost its roof and much of the contents of the store. A fixture of the community, the owners didn't take it lying down. Instead, they came back better than before.
Well, we're having a grand opening for the El Rio, which the roof blew off here February 1st.
Dozens of customers showed their support and expressed their gratitude for the store's speedy recovery.
The store's been here ever since I can remember, and it's a real asset to the community.
Reporting for the Picayune TV, I'm Raymond Whelan.
Those were your headlines. Stay tuned. Our candidates forums are next. We talk to Granite Shoals City Council and Marble Falls Mayor candidates. Then extra credit with Marble Falls High School students. After that, for the Picayune TV, I'm Connie Swinney.
Welcome. Today with the Marble Falls ISD Central Administration Office, we're going to be talking with the candidates for Marble Falls Mayor. Stay tuned. Today on our show we have the candidates for the Marble Falls Mayor's Office. We're pleased to welcome incumbent Mayor George Russell and his opponent, noted businessman Russell Buster. The format for today's show is we're going to give each candidate a question, a minute to answer the question, and then give them 30 seconds for rebuttal. The first question will go to Mayor Russell. Thank you, gentlemen, for being on the show, by the way. Mayor, what is your plan for greater cooperation between the Council, the Economic Development Corporation, and the Marble Falls Lake LBJ Chamber of Commerce?
Well, you know, really, all three organizations have some outstanding individuals that want to make Marble Falls better, except they're going in different directions. And so the first step, and we started it about 6 months ago, is simply to get the groups together to talk, to see if we could come up with a strategic plan or a strategic goal or a project that they could all work on. And that's being done right now, but it's going to take some time and get a similar goal between all three organizations to work with.
Good. Thank you very much. Mr. Buster, same question to you, sir.
In general, I agree with George. What I would like to emphasize, though, is that we changed to a 4B corporation, which allowed us to emphasize tourist-related and visitor-related activities. And so that's what I want to see the emphasis to be among all those groups.
Okay. Mayor Russell, you have 30 seconds for rebuttal if you wish.
Well, you know, I hate to agree with Russell. He and I kid each other for years, but one of the things, and if I'm elected, you'll see our budget process start out with what kind of city do we want to be? He is right that the 4B corporation can emphasize tourism and funds can be placed on that particular area, but everybody has to agree with what Marble Falls should be, wants to be, as opposed to a bunch of special projects.
Good. And Mr. Buster, your turn for rebuttal.
I think that we've gone through addressing all the different groups, and I think it's time for us to take that focus and to really emphasize the tourism aspect with the planned visitor center and some other projects like that. I think it's really time to focus on that aspect.
Good. Well, thank you very much. Now we're going to go to question number 2, but we're going to change things up a little bit. We're going to give Mr. Buster the first shot at the question. And that question is, how do we improve the city's economic future?
That's that's a magic question, or a $64,000 question. Marketing has a lot to do with it. I mean, we're got all the natural attributes, and we're still in a growth center in the Southwest. So we've got a lot of things working for us, and so we've just got to fine-tune that through the message that we put out through the door number 3 folks that we're working with, and such as that.
Okay, very good. Mayor Russell, same question to you. How do we improve the city's economic future?
Well, it is taking what Russell says. We've got to actually market ourselves. We need to have our Economic Development Corporation go out and talk to people to come in. And then we need to use the economic development tools that are in hand and on the books, like enterprise zones, 380 agreements, sales tax abatements, things that the business that comes here can generate and utilize those increased funds to enhance the economic community. But the one thing, it is going to take some time due to the current economy that we're living in right now.
Okay, very good, thank you. And Mr. Buster, your rebuttal.
We're in agreement on a lot of things. It's more of a focus and where the accent is put on things. But yes, it's going to take a while. We didn't get here into this economic situation in one day, and we won't get out of it in one day. So it takes a lot of planning and looking to the future. We need to identify those things that we think will be enhanced with what we have.
Okay, thank you. And Mr. Russell?
Well, like I said earlier, I hate to agree with Russell, but we have a community that is a beautiful community that we're not taking advantage of the assets. We've been very, very fortunate that businesses have come here because of what we are, the lakes, the retail hub and so forth. We've got to expand that out to the further in the state and other communities around.
Good. Well, thank you for your response. So far, our candidates both have kind of agreed on some issues. The next one, however, has been somewhat controversial. It's come up recently in the city of Marble Falls, and it's basically about the location of the police department, which right now is downtown on historic Main Street. So we're going to start with Mayor Russell first and ask him, when and where should the police department be moved?
Thomas, I don't have an answer. I think that I publicly said that I think that it should move. We tend to forget that the police station right now is was told a temporary location until we could find a better place. We have worked with obtaining land adjacent to the fire department for the removal of it, but right now it's just a matter of economics. It's going to take taxpayer dollars to pay for the move of the station, and it is a difficult move. It's not just a plain old building. There is some special security and communications efforts in it.
Good, I appreciate your answer. Now, we're going to give the question next to the mayor's opponent, Russell Buster. Mr. Buster, I know you have a little bit of a different take on this issue, and I hope you'll explain it for us.
Well, certainly the police station has been identified for 20 years as like George said, was in a temporary location, and we need to move it. Right now, I think that there are some possibilities to utilize the EDC building, Colt Circle, for a multi-use structure in the long term. That's one of the things I would like to see the EDC and the city work together on, because they got a great deal on the property, and it could save us millions of dollars if we could arrive at a way to dovetail a lot of these issues.
So basically the way we're looking at it is you'd like to see it move out to the Colt Circle building, and Mayor Russell, you've talked about moving it to that other property. So I have a little difference of opinion here. What's your rebuttal to what Mr. Buster said?
Well, as far as the location, Thomas, I don't know what the location. We do have that land to do. Once you look at moving it, the Colt Circle will have to go in. But a couple of things to keep in mind. It is not available today. And based upon the way the law is written, if the city does go into that particular building, we have to pay the Economic Development Corporation the fair market value of the thing. So there's going to be a cost at wherever the police department goes. But it does need to relocate.
Sure. And of course, there's always two sides to every issue. Mr. Buster, on your rebuttal, I know I've heard from some readers who have thought your idea about going to Colt Circle was not a bad idea, but what would you say in your rebuttal to Mayor Russell?
There are a lot of things that lend itself to the Colt Circle usage there. Now, there are issues about how the building can be used by the city if it's been bought by the EDC, but I think the lease structure could be worked out. There's a lot of ways to address that. The main thing is that it's an inexpensive building with which for us to work from. The budget for the new police station is $11 million, and so I think that there's something shy of that we could do that would be a great cost savings.
Good. Well, thank you both for your responses. I appreciate it. Now we come to the portion of the show that we call the wild card question. Candidates have also said the gotcha question. Look at it which way you want. The question arises from us back in the newsroom, coming up with ideas, from readers, from viewers. The main thing to remember is the candidates have not been prepped. They don't know what the question is going to be, and we want to just see how they think on their feet. So I believe we started on the last question with you just a second ago, so the honor for answering the wild card goes first to Mr. Buster, and the question is, what more can be done to promote Marble Falls?
Well, a lot of things can be done to promote Marble Falls. One is to arrive at a concrete vision. We've certainly been able to approach that with our work with the door number 3 folks who came up with a slogan in the middle of everywhere. But I think it misses a few things as far as detailing what Marble Falls offers. I've kicked around a vision that I call Ost-Tausburg, which is Austin, Taos, and Fredericksburg, because of the huge parts of Lady Bird Lake and hike and bike trails to art and music to a Main Street centered town.
Yeah.
So.
That's an interesting concept. And Mr. Russell, how about you?
Well, one thing to keep in mind is we have to promote the area. We have limited ourselves in the past by just promoting Marble Falls. You've got to remember that if we have any events in the area, we have the hotels here. We have some of the venues here, such as the pavilion and the theater and so forth that we can utilize here. So anything that we can promote for the area, in other words, enlarge our focus a little bit with events and so forth, and then get that information out to the state and the other areas.
Good. Well, thank you very much. Mr. Buster, time for your rebuttal.
I would like to see us focus more on the things that are in Marble Falls, which there are not enough of. So when somebody asks what is there to do when they come to Marble Falls and they're staying at one of the hotels, is that they have to leave town. So that is the aspect that I would like to see us increase, whether it's the tourism train that is a possibility to run out of downtown through Granite Mountain. I think it would be a wonderful type of destination for Marble Falls, in Marble Falls.
Well, thank you very much. And Mayor Russell, you're on deck. How about your rebuttal?
You know, I'm sort of stuck in the middle. There are many events that the city of Marble Falls cannot house, and we could take advantage of surrounding communities. And if you look at anything, regionalization or strategic partnerships are the way that any city is going to go and survive. We're fortunate that we have some assets here that'll bring people in. We're fortunate that we have the restaurants and the hotels here that can take advantage of the hotel tax and the sales tax and so forth to go ahead and promote them, and we use our dollars to promote the area.
Good. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it. I want to thank both our guests today, mayoral candidates George Russell, who is the incumbent, and Russell Buster, who is his opponent. Remember, the elections are May 14th. Go out, exercise your right to vote, have your voice heard. I'm Thomas Edwards, your host. This has been Tribune Talk with Thomas Edwards. You can catch us on demand at www.thepicayunetv.com and also on television on Northland Communications Cable 15. Thank you very much and have a great day. Thank you. Welcome. Today we're at the Marble Falls ISD Central Administration Office. Our guests are the Granite Shoals City Council candidates. Stay tuned as we ask them the hard questions. Welcome back. Today we have candidates for the Granite Shoals City Council races. I'd like to introduce our panel of guests. First, for place one, we have the incumbent, Shirley King, her opponent, Mr. Terry Hartman, and then for place three, we have Mr. Don Harrison and his opponent, Mr. Eric Tanner. Thank you all very much for being on our show today. We appreciate it. And just remember, you can catch the show on www.thepicayunetv.com or also on Northland Communications Channel 15. Let's get straight to our first question. We're going to go with place one candidates first. So Ms. King, you get the first question. What can the city do to encourage business and economic development?
Well, first of all, we need the voters to approve the bonds to build the new sewer plant. And once that happens, we need to encourage businesses to come here, and I would like to see the 131 acres that the city owns to be able to be developed into commercial property and for business for the citizens and for park and recreation uses.
Good. Well, thank you, Ms. King, for that answer. And now also for place one, Mr. Terry Hartman. What's your response, sir, to that question?
My response to that question is that we need a sewer treatment plant, because without it, businesses won't come in. And as you travel down 1431, there are a lot of derelict buildings on there. And something should be done about those, because if they get flat land, somebody wants to put a business in, takes one look and says, oh, here's a nice spot to build. And they don't have to look at a building that's falling apart literally on 1431. Also, it's for growth for the city. So we need the sewer treatment plant. It may be where it was originally scheduled, or it may have to go back up on 131 acres. Depends on what the voters do.
Thank you, Mr. Hartman. And now for place three, we're going to throw the question first to Mr. Don Harrison. Same question, sir. What can the city do to attract economic development and encourage business growth?
The thing is twofold. Number one, we do need a sewer treatment plant, and I would strongly encourage us taking a second look at the sewer treatment plant. I feel that the current sewer treatment plant is located on property and is not set up to benefit the majority of the citizens of Granite Shoals. We do need a city sewer treatment plant, but I do believe it should be on our own property. Secondly, we need to look at the code enforcement. In 5.5 years, we have not had one that I know of commercial operation that's in single-family residential shut down. We have contractor yards all over Granite Shoals. They've been overlooked. Nobody has looked at them. Those keep residents from coming in and building nice homes. That's the second thing, so that's twofold. Thank you.
Good, well, thank you very much. And also for place 3, Mr. Eric Tanner, how about your response to that question, sir?
Well, my response is that currently Granite Shoals derives its revenue from 2 primary sources, water sales and residential property taxes. And I'm a waterfront owner, and waterfront owners pay a disproportionate share, 70% of the property taxes in Granite Shoals. The only way that's going to change is for us to develop economic growth in terms of commercial and industrial, and without a wastewater treatment system, that's not going to happen. It's very important that we build out initially along 1431 so that we can then make that land inviting for people to come in and build businesses, stores, which also then increases work opportunities for citizens in Granite Shoals, particularly in the east side where the low-income residents tend to congregate.
Thank you, candidates, for that response to that question. Now we're moving on to question number 2, touching on a somewhat controversial subject. Right now, Granite Shoals is a city that's based on septic, but on the ballot May 14th is a proposition for a wastewater treatment plant. We've already touched on this a little bit with the candidates, but we're going to ask them to specifically state how they feel about the wastewater treatment facility that's proposed in the ballot. First, we'll go to place 1 incumbent, Shirley King. Ms. King, how do you feel about that deal?
I believe we need to build the new wastewater treatment plant, and that would provide a shopping convenience for our citizens, and it would provide sales tax revenue for the city. And Marble Falls collected $5.8 million this year in sales tax revenue, and the city of Granite Shoals only collected $73,000. If we had more sales tax revenue, we'd be able to do major improvements to our streets. We'd be able to put in new water lines, and we'd be able to do a lot more things for the citizens, and we'd be able to clean up Granite Shoals.
Well, thank you, Ms. King. And Mr. Terry Hartman, place 1 candidate. Same question to you, sir, about the wastewater treatment facility.
Well, we definitely need a wastewater treatment facility. Where it's located at the moment, I'm not sure of. But I know we have to have it because, as Ms. King stated, we have to have revenue. We have to equalize out the tax base. That's the important thing, get that tax base equaled out. And right now, as it's been stated, that the waterfront pays the majority of the taxes. And if we can get the sewer treatment plant in, then it will equal out the tax base. That's just how I feel about it.
Well, good, Mr. Hartman. Thank you very much. And now to our place 3 candidates. First, Mr. Don Harrison. Mr. Harrison, how do you feel about the wastewater treatment proposition?
I feel that everybody's in favor of a wastewater treatment facility for Granite Shoals. But I also feel that just a couple of city council meetings ago, the engineering firm stated that the wastewater treatment plant would be less expensive if it was put on the city's own property. As it currently stands, Phase 1 will not benefit the majority of the citizens of Granite Shoals. They will be paying for it for 8 to 14 years and not have a sewer hookup. The developers that own the property that they're currently putting on will be on Phase 1. They will be one of the first ones to get sewer. Now, if it was put back on our property, we could do it less expensive, and it would benefit more of the citizens of Granite Shoals. Thank you.
Good. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Harrison. And Mr. Eric Tanner, also a place 3 candidate. Your feelings on that issue, sir?
I strongly support the establishment and the construction of the wastewater treatment system. As regards to the location, the land involved in the development agreement between the Barnetts and the city, They are offering a total of 25 acres to the city free, so in essence the city owns that land. It's 15 acres, a total of 40 acres, 15 acres for the plant site and 25 acres for distribution of the wastewater. So I think ownership of the property is really not an issue. It's whether we should build it and where the first emphasis should be. And in my estimation, it should be along 1431 so that we could attract business development, as we talked about in the previous question. That way we can develop commercial property tax, sales tax, as Ms. King has talked about, and begin to ease the burden on the local property taxpayer. Again, nobody will pay for connection fees to the sewer system, and nobody will pay tap fees. And they won't pay any service fees until they are connected.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Tanner. And now to question number 3. The city of Granite Shoals has some distinct economic differences among its residents. If you were elected to the council, how would you ensure that all those different voices were heard? And again, we'll start with the place 1 incumbent, Shirley King, please.
I've been a voice for the citizens for many years now. I fought to keep the water rates as low as possible for the lower income citizens, and I voted for the tax freeze to help alleviate the tax burden on the waterfront property owners and everyone over 65 or handicapped.
Good. Well, thank you very much, Ms. King. And now to your opponent, the same question, Mr. Terry Hartman for place 1.
Well, my feelings on that is that Granite Shoals is all the citizens. It doesn't matter whether you live on the west side, or the east side, the north side, or the south side. We are all citizens of Granite Shoals. We all have things that we need in our neighborhoods. One way to do that would be, as I've seen in other cities, town meetings. You know, and get the groups together and talk. We have to go to a church for a town meeting. I mean, there are several places you can have town meetings in Granite Shoals. So I feel that would be a big help, and that would put everything out on the table. Then recommendations can go forward to the city council.
Well, thank you, Mr. Hartman, for that response. And now we're going to toss the question to our place 3 candidates, and we're going to start with Mr. Don Harrison first.
Okay, beside the sewer treatment plant, the other thing that the current city council constantly overlooks, you're not going to get builders to come in and build that in-between level of housing, that $150,000 to $250,000 homes in single-family residential areas that have somebody running a concrete operation or sawing I-beams next door. For years and years I've complained. Not one of them have been shut down. It's going to be one of my first things on the agenda that I'm going to get on the agenda and make city council address it, because that will bring in a lot of people in that in-between group that will help with the tax burden. Some of the people on the waterfront, hey, they're insulated from it. I live a half a block from one of these guys that saws I-beams all day long and has a crew of 6 people working in his backyard. And I can't see friends of mine that want to build a $250,000 house there. And sewer treatment plant, and to clean that up, which I feel has not been addressed, is my answer. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Harrison. And again, that's about having people's voices heard down at City Hall. And so we'll also ask the other place 3 candidate, Mr. Eric Tanner, how he would address that issue.
One of the main ways to address that issue is economic development again in the eastern part of the community. We have over the past several years increased the water supply to that area. We've also paved a number of streets in that area. Is there a lot more to be done? Absolutely, there is. We need to continue to reach out to those folks. My subdivision was only annexed into the city several years ago, and I was one of the few people in our subdivision that actually wanted to do that because we use the city's streets and water systems, and I knew that we would not get back in terms of services what we would pay in taxes, but that's why they call this a community. We have an obligation, those of us who are better off, to contribute more to help bring the eastern side of the city up to the levels of the rest of the city so that we're all in this together and we all prosper together.
Well, good. Thank you, Mr. Tanner. I appreciate that question and that response. Now we come to the segment that we call the wild card question. This is a question that our candidates have not been prepped for. It arises out of discussions back in the newsroom, from our readers and from our viewers. We just want voters to see how the candidates think on their feet. And so here is our wild card question. Candidates, how should Granite Shoals handle the next annexation of Beaver Island and Webb Island in the coming decade? And we will toss the question first to Shirley King, the incumbent for place 1. Ms. King?
We should, I won't be on the council then, I'm sure, and I think it would be up to the councilmen to there at the time, but it will be 7 years before that we can annex them, but I do believe that they should be annexed. The sooner the better.
Okay. Very controversial subject out there in Granite Shoals. And Mr. Hartman, same question to you, sir.
Right, thank you. The problem with it is for 7 years they cannot be annexed, and yet they get all of our services. They get the water, they get the fire, they get EMS, they get all of our services, and when they be annexed, we lost a large tax base. So hopefully that we can get that tax base back. As Ms. King said, she won't be on the council probably, and I probably won't either. But it's still something that we have to look at, and something that should be voted on. There's no way around that one. You have to vote on that one. Some of them wanted to stay with the city, some of them didn't. So indirectly, they're still part of Granite Shoals. That's it. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Mr. Hartman. And now we're going to take the question to our place 3 candidates. We're going to start again with Mr. Don Harrison. Mr. Harrison?
Okay, it is my understanding under the current agreement that Beaver and Webb Island will voluntarily, after 7 years, allow themselves to be re-annexed. The situation arose out of the city not annexing them properly. There was some errors made in the annexation which Beaver Island picked up on, and they used it to their advantage. The problem with the way it works currently is the fact that we stayed in court for 6 years fighting this situation, and we were wrong to start out with. We could have been re-annexing them in a couple of years if we wouldn't have stayed in court. And so I think the problem has solved itself. They're going to voluntarily allow Granite Shoals to annex them in 7 years.
Okay. Well, thank you. Strong opinions. It's always good to hear those opinions. And now, question goes to the other place 3 candidate, Mr. Eric Tanner.
Well, we've heard here today people saying that the people of Webb and Beaver Isle get benefits without paying for them. They will be paying higher out-of-city water rates, and as of October 1st, they will have to contract with the city at their cost for fire, police, and EMS protection. And it's also my understanding that the water system, or the wastewater treatment system for those 2 communities is nearing capacity. It wouldn't surprise me to see citizens in that area in the next few years actually petition the city of Granite Shoals to be annexed, particularly if a wastewater treatment system is approved by the voters May 14th.
Well, good. Thank you very much. That's an interesting point. I want to thank all our candidates for the Granite Shoals City Council for being here today on Tribune Talk with Thomas Edwards. We want to thank incumbent place 1, Councilwoman Shirley King. Thank you. Her opponent, Mr. Terry Hartman. And then for place 3, candidates Don Harrison and Mr. Eric Tanner. Thank you all very much. I also want to remind our viewers that we have 2 mayoral candidates who could not be here today, Dennis Meyer and Peggy Metzger, so don't forget them. Remember to go exercise your right to vote on May 14th, and check us out always on www.thepicayuntv.com, as well as on Northland Communications Channel 15. I'm Thomas Edwards for Tribune Talk. Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Welcome to Extra Credit. In this episode, we'll see a lot of students of Moral Falls High School who are right on track. More when we come back.
Vera's Strength and Fitness. Fitness programs that are fun and exciting with true performance and true results. Vera's Strength and Fitness, 708 Industrial Boulevard, Suite 101 in Marble Falls.
Welcome back. We found that it takes a competitive kind of student to be a part of the track program. Take a look. These students jump higher, run faster, and throw farther than anyone else in our school. Being in track at Marble Falls High School takes a certain type of person.
It shows a competitive side, and it's really mental to keep going, pushing when you're really tired.
It shows that they're really strong and committed to what they do, and that they work really hard every day to improve and do their best.
They practice hard every day to try to get up there with the top.
A number of our students did rise to the top during the district track meet, especially in events where muscle really mattered.
I watched some shot put, a lot of good guys in our district this year.
Participants get as much satisfaction out of watching the events as they do taking part in them.
I'd say the 200. That's a quick, fast race, half a lap. It's something that I personally sometimes do in track meets. I just love to see people run that kind of race.
The relays, because it's a really big group effort.
I like watching the 200, mainly because it's my favorite thing to run, and it teaches me better ways to run it. You can get really into it, cheering for your team, and be out there supporting them.
I'd say these students are right on track for a successful season. Thanks for watching Extra Credit on the Picayune TV.